right, and joining us this morning is Emmanuel Leyco, President and Chief Economist of Credit Rating and Investor Services Philippines. Good morning, Noel, and welcome back to Morning Matters.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right, sir. Well, the peso has stayed at a record low of 61.75 against the dollar for 2 straight days now. How concerning is this level for the Philippine economy?
I think it's very concerning because this is driving the costs of inputs in our country, the cost of imports, and that there will be a widespread increase in prices in the consumer market.
And which sectors, Noel, would you say are most vulnerable whenever the peso weakens by this much?
Well, almost everybody, because we are importing almost everything, and when the peso depreciates, the cost of our imports go up. So the landed cost of anything that we import from abroad will be much higher. Particularly, the cost of fuel, which is also definitely, I think everybody knows that, imported, and we use dollars to pay for our fuel import. So in addition to the conflict happening now in the Middle East, the cost of fuel will increase because of the peso depreciation. So that will hit everybody.
But, Sir Noel, how much of the peso's weakness is actually driven by global factors? And what would you say is driving the stronger demand for the dollar?
Well, right now, when we look at who's asking for more dollars, will be the importers, the Filipino importers. We import, and therefore we need to have dollars to pay for them. So we cannot say that it is only because of what's happening overseas, but also what's driving our imports in the country. We are not self-sufficient in most things. We import rice, we import food, we import fuel. So all around us, we'll see imported products.
And well, would you say that there are also domestic economic weaknesses that are weighing on the peso?
Yes, actually, the first time we saw big increases happened after the shooting at the Senate. You know, it's unusual for gunshots to be heard. I don't know of any other legislatures in the world where gunshots were fired inside the legislators' premises or the Senate. In our case, we can expect legislators to trade arguments, to trade positions, but we are not expecting that gunshots will be heard in our legislative bodies.
So if we continue to see this political turmoil and instability, do you warn that that could further weigh on our economy and the peso?
Yes, as long as there are jitters being felt by investors and I think even the consumers, the peso dollar exchange rate will be also in a shaky ground. Remember, investor confidence is a major factor in determining how much peso will be traded against other currencies. Yes, definitely. If our legislative turmoil continues and political uncertainties continue in the country, that will also present a major threat to our economy, a major threat to the standing of the Philippines against other countries we are trading with.
Well, traders are now saying that the 62 peso to the dollar level is now psychologically within reach, right? But Noel, is the 62 peso actually likely, and can the peso still recover?
You know, looking at just the basic demand factors, our imports continue to grow. and our cost of imports continue to increase. So our demand for dollars will continue, I think, in a quite a big possibility that it will continue to depreciate. Now, with political uncertainty is looming, actually, it's not even looming, it's already all around us. Leadership in the Philippine Senate, I think, is standing on shaky ground with only one vote margin against the minority. The majority is not solid in its leadership of the Senate. So anytime or on any issue, the leadership will can be changed. You know, normally we expect leadership in Congress to change hands whenever there is right after the election, whenever there is a majority of different political parties. But since we don't have political parties in the country, we are looking at political alignment of politicians on issues. So we normally expect leadership change at the beginning of the year, not during the following or continuing sessions of the Philippine Congress. That is not good. That also only indicates that the Philippine political leadership is not exactly very stable. So instability in political lives of the people can also translate in the stability of our economy. Leadership of the government provides the major vision or input to our economic lives. And if they are not stable, the economy can also be expected not to be on a very stable ground. Especially now, there are external forces that we have to deal with. Now, the internal political bickering, political alignment, or changing political alignment of forces will not help the economy to stabilize.
And what about the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte? I mean, this week we already saw the Senate convene as an impeachment court. Do you think it will be a positive sign that we are pursuing accountability, or do you foresee that it could still also negatively affect the stability of our economy?
I think the impeachment can go both ways. If the impeachment proceedings, which is part of a democratic society, you know, elections, impeachment happen in different democratic societies. However, in the Philippines, it will depend on how the impeachment proceedings will go. If the impeachment proceedings are stalled or issues are not addressed, just like what happened in I think, I'm not sure if it's still 2000, you know, the days of the ERAP administration. When the impeachment proceedings did not go smoothly, we saw major political upheavals that caused then administration of President ERAP to be changed. So he was not impeached or convicted during the impeachment proceedings. However, the people acted. And I think that should be a warning to our political leaders. If the politicians, if the impeachment court does not follow what the people think should be pushed or should be followed during the impeachment, especially if the proofs, the evidences point to a conviction and the government does not, I think there will be a major upheaval. However, this is also an opportunity for the Vice President to clear herself. If she is able to clarify, if she is able to present evidence that disprove what whatever accusations are being thrown at her, that will also be good for the vice president, and that will be good for the country. However, if the impeachment proceedings do not go smoothly, and evidences are not presented, I think that will be a major cause for upheaval in the country, which I hope will not happen, and just follow the impeachment proceedings as defined by law.
But Noel, what does it say when all these political issues are overshadowing the issues that are closer to the gut of many Filipinos? I mean, would you agree that we are still in a crisis because of the tensions in the Middle East? And in the past few days, the past few weeks, that hasn't really been given much attention because of what's happening politically.
I think that is unfortunate. The country works with different issues, and the government will have to be able to manage different issues. We are not a one-issue society. We deal with conflict in the Middle East, we deal with conflicts in the country, and the government should be able to handle that. Unfortunately, and I think this is also a call to the media, let us not lose sight of other issues. Yes, the impeachment is very, very important, but the economic issues, the economic cost of the country will be just as important, if not more important.
Well, Noel, if geopolitical tensions abroad worsen again, particularly in the Middle East, how vulnerable is our economy and our currency to another sharp drop?
You know, when more than 90% of our fuel comes from the Strait of Hormuz, that will only spell problem for the country. That is a crisis that is actually we are already experiencing, and therefore we should be prepared. If the Middle East conflict further intensifies, we should be prepared to be able to undertake other steps in order to address our energy issues.
But do you think the central bank's current approach is enough? They're saying, the BSP is saying that it does not target a specific exchange rate, but they will intervene during excessive volatility. Well, what did you make of that, Noel?
Well, you know, that's a textbook approach to our problems. You know, monetary interventions, I think to the credit of the Bangko Sentral, can only do so much in terms of managing our economy. When issues are mostly political, when issues are concerning supply of fuel, there's not much that Bangko Sentral will be able to do. So in terms of saying that they can increase the interest rate or inject more currencies in the market, I think those are things that the Bangko Sentral can do. However, the resources of the Bangko Sentral are not unlimited. So for example, if they start buying dollars, if they start releasing dollars into the market, that will also eat up into our currency reserves. And that will be unfortunate when the Bangko Sentral own resources will be limited and not able to intervene when other issues come in. Yes, Bangko Sentral is a potential party, is a potential intervener in our economy. However, we cannot just say that most of the issues that we are dealing with can be addressed through a BSP intervention in the market.
All right, well, we're going to leave that there for now, but thank you very much for sharing your insights with us this morning. That was Emmanuel, Leyco President and Chief Economist of Credit Rating and Investor Services Philippines. Thanks, Noel.
Thank you, and good morning.